Welcome to Your Wish Fulfilled. This is your magical podcast to come into the feeling that you've already attained everything you want right now. And from there to manifest and create the life that you want. There's no need to be running around. We can come into that beautiful feeling right now. Before we get into the little meditation to come into this feeling, I just want to introduce this new series, the Law of Success series. And this is based on a fascinating little book by Paramhansa Yogananda, who is an Indian mystic who was very successful on a number of levels. And it's fascinating that he actually wrote a book about success because he was a guru, but he had magical powers, and this book contains those magical powers. And so it's time to dive into this. We're going to go a few chapters at a time. They're quite short. I'll read a passage, share a few thoughts. We can do a little meditation, and you can experience this success, the laws of success for yourself. So to start, I invite you just to think about something that you'd love to manifest in your life. What would you like to create that would bring you so much joy and happiness? And let's take a moment just to hold that vision. There's the vision, there's the feelings. What does it sound like? What does it look like? If you were in that situation, just imagine you can snap your fingers or wave a magic wand and you end up in the now where that has already become manifest. You have everything you want right now. How do you feel? Just notice the difference in the feeling, notice the difference in the spaciousness. Now that you've attained everything you want, what is different and how do you feel? Just breathe that in gently and calmly. Knowing that you are an eternal being, that you are a spiritual being on an adventure in this wonderful planet, this strange planet, and you're safe and secure. Just taking a few breaths to ground that into your heart, into your mind, into your body, into your life. And just very gently bring your awareness back, and let's dive into the law of success. So the first chapter is called My Divine Birthright. The Lord created me in His image. I will seek Him first and make sure of my actual contact with Him. Then, if it be His will, may all things, wisdom, abundance, health, be added as part of my divine birthright. I want success without measure, not from earthly sources, but from God's all-possessing, all-powerful, all-bountiful hands. I'll read that again. Let's just really take this in. My divine birthright. The Lord created me in His image. I will seek Him first and make sure of my actual contact with Him. Then, if it be His will, may all things, wisdom, abundance, health, be added as part of my divine birthright. I want success without measure, not from earthly sources, but from God's all-possessing, all-powerful, all-bountiful hands. So Yogananda starts this book on success with coming back to an attitude that we are connected to God, to the divine, to the source of all abundance. And instead of running around looking for wealth externally, the first step is to come into that contact with this source of all wealth. Be aligned with that spiritual energy, with God's consciousness, with the highest good for all, and then be open to receive from that source. Another way of saying this is there's the personal will with a small w, what I want, how I want it, I like it, should be like this, where we are coming from our ego, wanting things, just random things, without any consideration of the greater good or spiritual karma, consciousness, just me, what I want, the small self with the small will. And that, as we know, leads to insecurity, it leads to stress, it leads to worry, it leads to disconnection from God and higher power and from our higher self. And it's a very needy, unpleasant reality to live in. So that's one way, which of course we are aware of, and that's how nearly everyone lives, and that's how we have lived our own lives to some degree, or to a large degree, right? And then we have this upgrade, which is where we come into a connection with the source of all power, align with that, ask for what is the highest guidance, what is divine will. So instead of what is my will, what is thy will? What is God's will? Because if we're aligned with the source of all power and the source of all wisdom, do you think it's more likely to work out? Versus our own personal opinion. This is something that takes great humility and takes a lot of people many years to reach this point, but we might as well start here at the beginning. It's one thing to say, what do I want, and try and get God and the universe to give it to me. It's another thing to say, what does God want for me, for the highest good of all? And then come from there. This is a huge, huge paradigm shift, right? So the very first thing, there's 2 paragraphs at the beginning of this book, has a massive paradigm shift right at the beginning. Before I go wanting things and chasing after things, what is that divine will? So let's read this again. The Lord, and when you hear the Lord, you can imagine a being of light, a being of love, or however you want to imagine him. I see God as a spiritual point of light who is in the spiritual world and has massive, massive, infinite power. And created me in his image means that he is an eternal spiritual being, and I am an eternal spiritual being. That's what it means. I'm in a body, he's not in a body, but we're still the same, you know. I'm not this body, you're not the body. We're all spiritual power. So God is spiritual power, we're spiritual power, we're here on this planet. So that the Lord created me in his image. We're all spiritual light. And really, we weren't created, we exist forever because we're eternal beings. I will seek him first, I'll seek that actual connection and make sure of my actual contact with him. So right now you can imagine that beautiful light shining down from above into your heart, into your mind. Imagine you're being like there's a beam of light coming down from that sky beyond the sky, and that you are a spiritual being with a spiritual connection to the one with all love and all power. So I first make sure of my actual contact with him. Then, if it be his will, divine will, the highest good, may all things, wisdom, abundance, health, be added as part of my divine birthright. I want success without measure. I want success without measure. Not from earthly sources, but from God's all-possessing, all-powerful, all-bountiful hands. So tune into this. I was going to share more chapters, but I realized these are so rich, so we're going to take one at a time. And I'll share the next chapter, the law of success, in the next session. Then we have the power of thought. Will is the dynamo. You can control destiny. Fear exhausts life energy. Failures should arouse determination, and so many other wonderful things. So for now, I invite you just to reflect on this, my divine birthright. Come into that connection with God, with divine will, with the infinite power, and be open to receive success without measure from a stable spiritual connection with the source of all power, so that you are aligned at the highest level of what you're doing. The one who has all wealth and abundance, of course, wants all of us to have wealth and abundance. And the more we're aligned, the more wealth and abundance we will attract. Thank you for your wonderful presence. Tune into these things today. I apologize, I haven't been uploading as much as I was before, but I'm going to start again with this book. I've been on a wonderful trip around the US, wonderful road trip, seeing some of the most profound and expansive views in the world. I mean, America has got some incredible nature places beyond belief, especially up in the Southwest. So it expands the meaning of epic. My mind is blown about the magic and wonders of this great planet that we live on. And so thank you for your wonderful presence. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lots and lots of love. I know some of the people who listen to the podcast, not everyone, of course. So you know who you are. Thank you for your presence. And I'll talk to you in the next session, the law of success. I'll just read the first line to give you a taste. Is there a power that can reveal hidden veins of riches and uncover treasures of which we never dreamed? We will find out in the next session. Lots of love and many blessings.